Now, if you're watching this, chances are that you're planning a trip to Iceland and planning on driving the famous Ring Road, the ultimate road trip that circles the island and takes you past some of Iceland's most stunning landmarks. Now, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there from travelers that have driven the Ring Road, but this one is a little bit different. I was born and raised here in Iceland, so you're getting the local version. My best tips, hidden spots, and honest advice for making the most out of your adventure. Now, this video took a while to put together, and my hope for it is that it'll give you some great tips to enhance your Iceland trip. So if you find it helpful, please hit that like button and even consider subscribing to our channel. Alright, so let's buckle up, grab a coffee, and let's hit the road. Driving the Ring Road is very simple. It's basically one road that loops the entire country. You just follow it and you'll see some of the most incredible landscapes in Iceland. We did the trip during summertime, which is definitely the easiest time to drive the Ring Road. Even though I live in Iceland and I'm used to the snowy, icy winter, I'll be honest, I don't think I have the guts to do this trip during winter time. Some parts of the Ring Road can get pretty sketchy in bad weather, and the wind alone can make it very intense. So if you're planning this road trip, I definitely recommend summertime or early autumn. You'll have long daylight hours, better weather, and less stress behind the wheel. Now, there are plenty of ways to explore Iceland's Ring Road. You can stay at hotels, cozy guest house, or even camp out in a tent. But for this adventure, I wanted something different, so I rented an RV, packed up the family, and we hit the road to camp our way around Iceland. Before the trip, I reached out to a few different car rental companies to compare the prices, and in summertime, they can get really expensive. I was quoted from one somewhere around $600 per day, which was way out of our budget. Instead of paying that, I looked locally and found a Facebook group called Husavik til leigu, or in English, Camper for Rent, and I was able to rent an RV for $250 per day, which was a much better deal. Before you hit the road though, I always recommend staying one day in Reykjavik. The Ring Road is amazing, full of jaw-dropping nature and endless beauty, but the capital has its own special charm that travelers often skip too quickly. Reykjavik is the perfect place to ease into Iceland. Great energy, colorful streets, and some seriously good food. And if you'd like to experience the city like a local, then I'd love to have you on my food tour, the Reykjavik Food Walk. It's a fun and delicious crash course in Icelandic cuisine and culture, where you'll explore the city with a local guide and taste some of our favorite Icelandic dishes along the way. It's honestly one of the best ways to kick off your Iceland adventure. I'll link to it below with a discount code if you'd like to check it out. Now, let's get started with our first day outside of the city. We started our Ring Road journey going counterclockwise with our first stop in Flúðir, which is a small town about an hour and a half from Reykjavik, right in the Golden Circle area. We arrived late and just spent the night there, and I've been to Flúðir countless times, so this stop was a short one, mainly a pit stop before we continue our adventures. But if it's your first time visiting, then there's so much to see nearby. We have Þingvellir National Park, Gullfoss waterfall, we have the erupting geysers, all the classic Golden Circle highlights. This area also includes one of my favorite hotels, which is Hotel Glacier. I've stayed there twice and it's definitely one of the nicer looking hotels you'll find in Iceland. And right in Flúðir you'll find the secret lagoon, one of Iceland's oldest hot springs. Also, as of October 15th, 2025, a brand new lagoon opened just nearby, which is called Laugarás Lagoon, and that's definitely worth checking out as well. Now, Flúðir isn't exactly known for its restaurant scene, but there are two spots that definitely stand out. First, we have Friðheimar Tomato Farm, a beautiful greenhouse restaurant where everything revolves around tomatoes. If you go, ask to be seated in their hidden wine bar at the back. It's a fun little secret that most people miss. The second spot is Restaurant Minilik, which is an Ethiopian restaurant run by a local Icelander and his Ethiopian wife. The place is small and the vibe is a little unique, a little strange, and you might have to wait a while for your food to arrive, but when it does arrive, it's really good Ethiopian food. So when I get the chance, I try my best to visit restaurant Minilik. It was also around this time of our trip where I realized that the people that rented the RV before us hadn't exactly emptied out their toilet. Now, I've never done this before, but I figured, how hard can it be? So I gave it my best shot, and let's just say it was a learning experience. Now, the next morning, we made our way to Höfn, where the Herjólfur ferry departs for the Westman Islands, or as we call it here in Iceland, Vestman Islands. Now, you can easily book tickets beforehand at herjolfur.is. I'll link to it here in the description below. It's about a 30-minute boat ride with some beautiful scenery along the way. It's really, really beautiful, especially when the sun's out. And the ticket per person is around $20 US, and you can either go solo and leave your car behind, or you can do what we did, which was take the car with us on the boat. Vestmannaeyjar is almost always missed when travelers drive the ring road, but man, is it worthwhile. It's basically a string of 15 different islands formed entirely by underwater volcanic eruptions. The newest island, called Surtsey, appeared 50 years ago and is the newest place on Earth. How cool is that? But out of all the islands, Heimaey is the only inhabited island, which is home to around 4,000 Icelanders. And it feels like a world of its own. It's a mix of dramatic cliffs, volcanic craters, great restaurants, and one of Iceland's warmest, friendliest small towns. It's also a very walkable island, very family friendly, with some fun museums that the entire family can enjoy. They also have one of the most beautiful golf courses that I've ever been to, and it was so much fun to play, although my golf swing could definitely use some work. Yikes. Vestmannaeyjar also has a surprisingly great food scene, thanks to their hometown hero and legendary Icelandic chef, Gísli Matt. He's known for being one of Iceland's most ambitious and innovative chefs, and for being an all-around sweetheart of a guy. This summer, his legendary restaurant Slippurinn was having its final season and closing after 13 years. Knowing that, we knew we had to pay them a visit. But don't worry if you missed out on Slippurinn, because he also has another restaurant called Nice, which is located in the Westman Islands. He also has another great restaurant called Skál, located in downtown Reykjavik, and another one located in Laugarás Lagoon, the one that we talked about before. And one thing that you learn quickly while doing the ring road is that Icelanders love to swim. And in any town in Iceland, you'll usually find an awesome swimming pool with some nice hot tubs or some legendary water slides. And I love to swim, but this is especially good if you're traveling with kids, since you can take them in a pool, send them a few trips in the water slides, and tire them out before hitting the road again. Vestmannaeyjar is also the puffin capital of the world, where you can literally spot millions of them nesting on the cliffs, especially around Stórhöfði, the southern tip of the island, known as one of the windiest spots in Europe. This is a small hut for puffin viewing, and the views are absolutely spectacular. And every August in the Westman Islands, local kids will help rescue lost baby puffins that accidentally flew into the town's lights instead of out at sea. They'll gently catch them, name them, and release them the next morning. It's a heartwarming local tradition that's been going on for decades. The next morning, we took the Herjólfur ferry back to Höfn to begin our journey along the famous Iceland south coast. A sightseeing gold mine packed with incredible waterfalls such as Seljalandsfoss, Gullfoss waterfall, and the hidden Gljúfrabúi, and of course the iconic Reynisfjara black sand beach. After a full day of exploring, we arrived in the small coastal town of Vík. Now, the restaurant scene in Vík isn't huge, but we found a place called Black Crust Pizza, which we really enjoyed, so it's definitely worth a visit if you're passing through. In Vík and all around Iceland, we spent our nights at designated campsites. Wild camping isn't allowed here in Iceland, but luckily there's always a campsite nearby. Every town has one, and they're easy to find on Google Maps. And on average, throughout our ring road journey, we spent about $40 per night at each campsite. After leaving Vík, we continued east through the small village of Kirkjubæjarklaustur. That's a toughie of a word if you want to practice some Icelandic. Kirkjubæjarklaustur. A charming little spot known for its peaceful vibe and beautiful campsite. Nearby, you'll find the stunning Fjarðargljúfur Canyon, as well as two lovely waterfalls, Stjórnarfoss and Systrafoss. Another incredible spot along the south coast and in that area is Svartifoss, which translates to the Black Waterfall, located in Skaftafell National Park. To get there, you'll need to take a short but beautiful hike. And what I like about Svartifoss is that it's the inspiration, the look of the waterfall, it's the inspiration to the design of Iceland's famous church, Hallgrímskirkja. Now we decided to keep going and continue our journey throughout the south coast towards Jökulsárlón, or in simpler terms, simpler English, the Glacier Lagoon. When we arrived, the weather was perfect and the views were absolutely breathtaking. Bright blue icebergs floating in still water with mountains in the background. If I would have had a little bit more time, I would have loved to do a little boat tour that sails past all the icebergs. That looked like an absolutely incredible experience. And just across the road from the Glacier Lagoon, you'll find the Diamond Beach, where pieces of ice wash up on the black sand beach and sparkle like crystals in the sunlight. Now, after visiting the Glacier Lagoon, we continued east towards Höfn í Hornafirði. Everybody just calls it Höfn, and I always like hearing travelers say it, because they always say Höfn. We're going to Höfn, but us Icelanders, we say Höfn. Now, this was one of the places that I was the most excited about visiting, because I had never been before but heard such amazing things. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. It was absolutely beautiful. We settled into a campsite surrounded by incredible scenery, and like most towns in Iceland, Höfn is very family friendly, with playgrounds, open spaces, and a great local swimming pool. And one of the main reasons that I was so excited about visiting Höfn was for their lobster. They're famous for their fresh Icelandic langoustine, which is smaller and sweeter than the regular lobster and absolutely delicious in flavor. Now, upon arriving at Höfn, I learned that there are two main restaurants in that town. We have Otto restaurant and Pakkhús. And when we arrived, I called both of them to try to get a reservation for that same evening, but they were both fully booked. So we ended up at a place called Kaffi Hornið. And in my opinion, it wasn't really great. It had touristy vibes, mediocre food, the service wasn't special, so definitely lesson learned. It's Pakkhús and Otto restaurant, and you need to reserve ahead of time. Now the next evening, I finally got a table at Pakkhús, and it was so good. Cool looking interior, friendly service, views of the shipping harbor, and the langoustine there was absolutely amazing. It fulfilled my expectations of the lobster in Höfn, and I was so happy that we went. Now after Höfn, we began our long but absolutely beautiful drive to our next destination, which was Egilsstaðir. Now the scenery from Höfn to Egilsstaðir is absolutely amazing, with mountain views that just keep getting better and better the longer that you drive. But one thing that I didn't account for was the wind while driving. When you're driving a big RV in heavy Icelandic wind, it can definitely be a challenge. Now, as we got closer to Egilsstaðir, we got to a point where we could choose between staying on the main road or taking a rugged looking shortcut. And I thought, why not? A shortcut sounds good to me, and it looked kind of adventurous as well. What I didn't realize was that the shortcut was only meant for vehicles that were four-wheel drive and not particularly suitable or allowed to drive an RV there, and that was definitely an experience. But we made it through, and it definitely added a bit of excitement to our drive. Eventually, we arrived in Egilsstaðir, which is a small town on the far east of Iceland. It's a quiet little place, but what makes it special is the weather. Egilsstaðir consistently gets some of the best weather in Iceland. We were lucky enough to arrive in 25 degrees Celsius heat, which, if you live in Iceland, it's almost tropical. We went back and forth whether to camp at Egilsstaðir or to drive a bit further to Atlavík, which is a nearby area with one of the most beautiful campsites in the country, surrounded by forests, mountains, and a nice lake. Later that day, we stopped at a small local restaurant called Cluster's Cafe, and it completely surprised me. It's one of those cozy, family-run places that instantly feels welcoming the moment that you walk in. The atmosphere was warm, the staff was super friendly, and the food was fantastic. Hearty Icelandic dishes made with local ingredients. After a long drive, it was exactly what we needed. Egilsstaðir might be small, but it's places like this that make you want to slow down and genuinely appreciate how peaceful and beautiful the east of Iceland really is. Leaving Egilsstaðir, there are plenty of amazing spots to check out in the area. From the powerful Dettifoss waterfall to endless lava fields and canyons that show you just how wild and raw this part of Iceland really is. Now, we had originally planned on stopping at Vökbaðs, which is a beautiful geothermal lagoon that sits partly on a lake just outside Egilsstaðir. But as we got close, both of our boys had fallen asleep for their nap, and as any parent knows, you never wake a sleeping kid during a road trip. So we kept driving and made our next stop at Stuðlagil Canyon. And wow, what a place. The towering basalt columns and turquoise water make it one of Iceland's most photogenic spots. I had been dying to go here, and this was absolutely worth seeing. And since we skipped Vökbaðs, we decided to drive a little bit further and stop at a place called Mývatn Nature Baths. They recently rebranded their name, and now they call themselves the Earth Lagoon. It's often compared to the Blue Lagoon because the water in the Earth Lagoon is milky blue, as they say. I had never been, and I was definitely excited to check it out. But to be honest, I wasn't too impressed. Maybe it's because Iceland's new generation of lagoons like the Sky Lagoon, Sigrid Lagoon, or the Laugarás Lagoon have raised the bar so high. The Earth Lagoon felt a bit basic by comparison. Looking back, I kind of regret not having stopped at Vökbaðs. Instead of driving straight to Akureyri, we decided to make a one-night stop at the charming fishing village of Husavik, which you might recognize or remember from the Eurovision film with Will Ferrell. Now, Husavik is often called the whale-watching capital of Iceland, and for good reason, since the chances of you seeing multiple whales around Husavik are definitely high. Now, the next morning we continued our journey towards Akureyri with a couple of fun stops on the way. First, we stopped at a small little farm called Daladýrð, where the kids got to meet all sorts of animals. It's definitely a simple spot, but it's such a great experience for them, and they had such a good time stopping here after a long drive. Then, just before reaching Akureyri, we stopped by the Christmas house, a quirky little spot where it's Christmas all year round. It's colorful, it's a bit strange, and honestly pretty magical if you're traveling with kids. Next, we arrived in Akureyri, often called the capital of the north. We stayed at a campsite called Hamrar, and it was absolutely incredible, especially for families. There were endless activities for the kids. Playgrounds, mini cars for them to drive around a racetrack, also a pond area where it's possible to sail around in a small boat, and plenty of space to just explore. My two boys absolutely loved Hamrar campsite. Akureyri itself is such a charming and lively town full of local character. One of my favorite things about Akureyri that always makes me smile are their traffic lights. All the red lights are shaped like hearts, which feels so perfectly Akureyri. Friendly, warm, and a little bit quirky as well. Like in most towns that we visited, we checked out their local swimming pool. Always a family favorite. The one in Akureyri has some legendary water slides, including one named the Toilet. And when my older son heard about that, we knew we had to go. Another great alternative in Akureyri is the Forest Lagoon. It's a beautiful modern hot spring surrounded by nature. And if I would have been traveling with friends or just my partner, this would definitely have been the top pick. But for families, I would say local pools are the better choice. And in terms of activities in Akureyri, a close friend of mine, Dagur, runs a food tour up in the north called the Akureyri Food Walk during the summertime. Dagur is an amazing guide, truly one of the best. And the Akureyri Food Walk is such a great way to get to know the town, have a lot of fun, and eat some great food. So it's truly an experience to check out. If you want to check that out, I'll link to it in the description below. Before filming this video, I called up David. I said, hey, I'm going to talk about your amazing food tour in my video. Is there any promo code that I can give the viewers if they want to check it out? And you can use the promo code DAN, my name, DAN, for a discount of Akureyri Food Walk. You're gonna love it. And like Husavik, Akureyri is also known as one of the best whale watching spots in Iceland. There are several different tour options from the harbor, and the chances of seeing whales, especially during summertime, are incredibly high. But for us, we spent most of our times just relaxing at Hamrar campsite, surrounded by locals, cooking and enjoying simple family moments. Now, when it came to food, we ate at the Indian curry house. Not exactly traditional Icelandic food, but so delicious. Another night, we tried the food hall at the local Akureyri shopping center. I feel like food halls worldwide aren't exactly known for having good food, but the food halls here in Iceland are different. They're known for their quality. The food here is great, and my two boys were thrilled to get a nice juicy steak, which is their absolute favorite. Now, after leaving Akureyri, we continued west and stopped for a night at Sauðárkrókur. On the way, we made a short stop at Glaumbær, just outside of Sauðárkrókur. It's a historic turf farm and open air museum that gives you a glimpse into how Icelanders lived centuries ago, with grass roofed houses, old tools and furniture. It's a beautiful spot and definitely cool to see how Icelanders lived back in the day, but my wife was convinced that it was haunted, so we didn't stop for too long. When we arrived in Sauðárkrókur, it was already evening, so we found a campsite, fired up the grill and had a simple family dinner together. The town itself felt pretty nice, just a small, simple Icelandic fishing town. There are also some great alternatives nearby, like Dalvík, Siglufjörður or Ólafsfjörður, each with their own unique charm. The next day, we met up with some friends that were driving to meet us from Reykjavik. We've been keeping a close eye on the weather forecast, like every Icelander does, using veður.is, the official weather website, to figure out and find where the best weather was. At the time, it looked best in Blönduós, so that's where we decided to meet. Blönduós is a cute little town, great swimming pool as always, good playground for the kids and sunny weather. And it was the perfect place to relax, catch up with friends and let the kids run around for a bit. Now, when it comes to road tripping in Iceland, Icelanders have a saying which is Eltum veðrið, which literally just means we chase the weather. And the idea for it is simple. It basically just means that you don't pre-decide on how long you'll stay at each location. Since the weather here changes so constantly, and just driving 1 hour further can take you from rain and wind to clear skies and sunshine. So when we're on vacations, we don't chase schedules, we chase the good weather. But of course, you don't just chase the good weather, you also try your best to avoid the bad weather. And around this point in our trip, we had our eyes set on Snæfellsnes Peninsula, specifically the town of Stykkishólmur, which is one of my favorite areas in Iceland. But a weather storm was moving in from the west and the forecast looked terrible. So after 12 incredible days on the road, full of adventures, waterfalls and family memories, we decided to do what Icelanders do best: adjust to the weather. We turned the RV around and made our way back to Reykjavik. I really hope you enjoyed coming along for the ride, and I truly hope this video gave you some tips, ideas and inspiration for your journey around the country. Whether you're planning on doing it by RV like myself or just a regular car, the ring road truly is one of the most beautiful journeys you can take in Iceland. If you found this video helpful, it would mean the absolute world to me if you hit that like button and even consider subscribing for more travel videos in Iceland. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Sjáumst!